All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today to celebrate something truly magical, something so rare and fortuitous and wonderful that it simply must be celebrated. I am, of course, talking about the open bar, cake, and photo booth. So I guess I should introduce myself. I'm Matt Tolentino, the best man and best friend of the groom. As you can tell, I'm very nervous standing up here right now. I was advised to imagine everyone in the room naked if I ever get nervous. Having said that, groomsmen, please turn 90 degrees in the direction away from me. First and foremost, let's all give a round of applause to the parents of the bride and groom. I'm sure they couldn't be more proud of their children becoming doctors and now going on to marry another doctor. Statistically speaking, we literally can't die tonight, even if we tried. So everyone, drink your heart out, responsibly, of course. And we are, of course, here to celebrate the nuptials of Coy and Helen, or as I like to call them by their celebrity couple name, Colin. Sorry, I didn't realize this was right after dinner, so. All right, and just to give you a little background, I met Coy way back in the 90s. Back when boy bands and Pokemon cards were all the rage, and regular gas was 79 cents a gallon. Coy and I instantly became friends when we got transferred to the same class in first grade. Till this day, we like the same things, the same books, the same movies, video games, the Lakers, even when they suck. Our love for 50-piece chicken McNuggets from McDonald's. We both even have nasty cases of plantar fasciitis. We were clearly destined to be best friends. One thing I've never told Coy during our 23 years of friendship is that he's easily the friend of mine who has had the biggest impact on my life. Growing up, we always talked about being doctors together. Coy has always been the smartest and most talented person I've ever known. I spent most of my life trying to keep up with him, but as his friends from college and med school have probably found out, such efforts will only prove to be futile. Deep down to the core of me, I always knew I would never make it as a doctor, especially because I hated school and the thought of being a student for 10 more years after college sounded like an idea that Satan himself came up with. I did, however, learn so much about myself in the pursuit. I realized my work ethic and talents that I did have, and it's because I decided to embark on that noble journey alongside my BFF. Even though I veered away from our original path, Coy continues to be my #1 advocate. Like a ship that has redirected its sail by 1 degree, where I ended up is far from where I thought I'd be, but I could not be happier. I now live in a beautiful city with the love of my life, and Coy's presence in my life has had far more influence in that than he'll ever know. Every time I have a tough decision to be made, he is the one person I always consult, whether it's about girls, school, career, or life in general. His advice has always been insightful, honest, and oftentimes hilarious. Things people see clouded with emotion, he sees with clarity, and is quick to point out the stupidity in decisions misguided by frivolous feelings. Coy is the one friend I would trust my life with, and now that he's a doctor, I can mean it literally. In my eyes, Coy could do no wrong, and all his decisions are most always right. And now he enters the paradigm of marriage, in which the man will always be wrong, and the woman knows everything, except for where to eat. I feel very honored to be here by his side on his special day, and it gives me great joy to know that he will be spending the rest of his life with someone as sweet, intelligent, sophisticated, and as lovely as Helen. Before Coy met Helen, he was always the calm and collected type, too busy with far more important things for the likes of social media. His social media is now riddled with pictures of him making goofy faces with cats and food, a silly side seldom seen, now posted online for the world to see, living his best life. And even though time for friends will now be far less, I find solace in the thought that we will eventually reunite when I pull the best friend card and request that he administer my prostate exams. All right. So without further ado, I'd like to propose a toast to our colon. Everyone says that this is meant to be the best day of your life, but I know it won't. It's the best day of your life so far, because I know you guys have so many more amazing days to come. Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for our best man, Matthew. And keep that going for our maids of honor, Kathy and Corinne.
Hi everyone, I'm Kathy,
I'm Corinne.
and we're here to say a few words for the couple. So I met Helen in college when we lived together in the same dingy house the summer after our sophomore year. During that summer, we hung out constantly. We were practically a couple. People say that college years are the best years of your life, and for me, all my best times were with Helen. One thing I love about Helen is that she has such a willingness to go out into the world and do things. We enjoyed eating Chinese food, going to summer concerts, eating fancy food, going to street festivals, eating cheap food, and occasionally even exercising. If you don't know Helen well, she's incredibly hardworking and ambitious. She's probably my most studious friend in college, and that's saying a lot at a school of nerds. Back then, Helen would bake whenever she was stressed, and we could tell that Helen was constantly pushing herself academically, because I would constantly see new baked goods every time I entered our kitchen. Also, Helen's definitely the responsible one within our friend group. The parents should be proud, Mom and Dad. For example, at our bachelor party, when we went to a grocery store for a booze run and everyone was picking out their favorite liquors, Helen went straight to get some Emergency, those little packets of vitamin C to keep our immune system strong. Quintessential Helen. Now, enter Coy. I wasn't there when Coy and Helen met, but from the stories Helen told me, I knew they were a match. I love one anecdote about how early in their relationship, they were at a party on a very snowy New Year's Eve, and of course, at the end of the night, Uber's prices were surging. Instead of paying for a ride, Helen and Coy decided to trudge all the way home, on foot, in the Columbus snow. This shows that from the very beginning, their relationship was built on shared values, like immigrant frugality. I've had the pleasure of getting to know Coy more over the years, from visiting Helen in Columbus to reunions in Chicago, San Francisco, and LA. Coy is an ambitious and hardworking doctor, just like Helen, but his personality definitely complements Helen's. For example, Coy isn't the type to go for the Emergency during his bachelor party. Instead, Coy's the type to have a bachelor party in Vegas right before the wedding. But in all seriousness, I love how easygoing and warm Coy is. Coy is a true sweetheart, and I can tell that he has such profound respect and devotion for Helen. I'm so glad you two found each other. Now, I'll let Corinne tell you about how Helen and Coy's relationship blossomed.
I met Helen a few years later, and she was one of my very first friends in medical school. During our time at Ohio State, Helen and I shared both big moments and small, from traveling to Italy after our board exams, to studying for hours on end in the library, to Helen asking me to be her personal trainer, and then quitting after 3 weeks, to watching The Bachelor together every week. During this time, I had the fortune of seeing Helen and Coy's relationship develop from the very beginning. It began with Helen thinking that they were just friends, which they clearly weren't, but I humored her like good friends do. Thanks to a running injury, Helen was confined to crutches, and she started telling me about a classmate who was being extremely helpful in her time of need. His name was Coy, and he was so helpful that he offered to drive her around, even though he didn't have a car. Helen continued to insist that he was just a friend, even when she was off crutches, and he asked her to dinner at Barcelona, which is a classy restaurant downtown. Helen said it wasn't a date, but the rest is history. Over the next few years, I witnessed Coy bring Helen meals in the library during our all-day study sessions. I watched him make her laugh when she wanted to cry, and I watched him smile, although reluctantly, when she surprised him with a cat adoption. I watched them transition from just friends to best friends, with a relationship based on trust, loyalty, and understanding. Helen, you have been the best friend anyone could ever ask for. You were my rock throughout medical school, the friend that was there for me through some of my most difficult and stressful times in my life. Tough breakups, med school exams, a cursed camping trip, eyebrow threading, and learning how to drive on the highway. Oh, that was you. I have always admired your heart and kindness for everyone, and I am so happy that you found your rock and your best friend. Now, 5 years after your non-date, I am so excited for you two to continue your lives together with the same trust and understanding that has made your relationship so special. So now, in the spirit of the show that taught us about true love, Kathy and I would like to make a toast for the most important vintage rose ceremony yet, Bachelor themed.
So, on The Bachelor, for those of you who don't watch, contestants get closer by doing scary things like bungee jumping and skydiving. You two have already survived something much scarier, medical school. May you continue to grow closer through many new adventures in the future.
On The Bachelor, one-on-one dates are coveted and better than group dates. No matter how busy your schedules get, may you continue to fight for one-on-one time together.
The Bachelor is full of disagreements and conflict, just like any relationship may be. I hope you remember that your love is worth jumping a fence for, no matter how difficult it gets.
We have loved following your journey through all these seasons. Everyone, please join us in raising a glass to Helen and Coy. Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for our maids of honor.
Kính thưa tất cả quý vị quan khách, hôm nay tất cả cô, dì, dượng, anh chị em, bạn bè. Xin thay mặt gia đình, xin cảm ơn tất cả các bà con, cô bác, anh chị em, bạn bè thân hữu đã đến chung vui với lại hai cháu ngày hôm nay. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the family, I would like to give a big applause. Thank you for being here to celebrate the wedding of our beloved children. Well, for sure, to us, they always still be children, even they are big now. So make it short because time is running and we would like to have some more fun dancing. So I would like, sometimes I think, thinking back like almost 30 years ago, coming here, I still can't believe it. Now he's only a little few months old and now he's married. A lovely wife. Welcome to our family, Helen. And we would like to give a toast to the newlywed. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the father of the groom. And next up, we have the father of the bride. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Dae Joon.
Thank you very much. Good evening. I'm so nervous, with so many good speeches I had. Actually, I did not prepare well because recently With approaching of the big day, I cannot sleep well in the morning and always wake up early and think what I should talk about Helen and Coyce in the big days. But actually by now, I still don't have a good idea. So I will say whatever I had in my mind right now, okay? But so first I would like to thank you all, and I know many of you come from actually outside of country, and I really appreciate your times and coming to celebrate the big day of the Helen and the Coy. And also I would like to officially welcome Coy into the family, and we really thank you very much. So for Helen, when I told you I think about so much recently, but the first thing, I think the most impressive things, I think is actually the first smile and Helen gave me. And I still remember the day when her mother struggled in the delivery room, and I am outside the room and I heard there is a cry inside. But when the nurse carried her out, actually, she's smiling at me with two big dimples. I'm just so happy at the times. So this actually is not the end. I just feel, my daughter seems like a very happy one. So later, actually, another important and very impressive thing is when there is a day, when we're in China, it's a very, it's a winter day with a big snow. I ride a bicycle and carry Helen to the home. But at that time, the snow become so bad, and actually my bike actually slipped on the floor. I feel terribly scared and worry about Helen might get hurt. But when I look back, actually Helen is smiling at me. So to me, Helen is always, at that, I'm just so happy. She's always seems like happy, and now my dad is happy. Happy, pretty girls become, a very successful, beautiful, professional ladies, young ladies, and going to marry a very handsome man. And so I'm really. So I have to talk about the Coy too, right? So first time when Helen called home, said, I will bring my boyfriend to visit you guys for the Thanksgiving. So at that time, both her mom and I pretty nervous, So, but when the first time I see the Coy, I really like him. It looks like a very handsome, easygoing guy, and it seems like try to keep him pretty quiet. And then several days later, when we go home, actually, when I get off work and went back home, they actually cook a big dinner for us. And there is something called the Cajun shrimp. Actually, is better than the one what we have ever ate in the boiling crab. So it's really, really impressed us. So I know a doctor can cook with the cooking skills, must be a good husband. So that's what, from then on, we just feel, okay, seems like they are pretty successful. So we feel very happy for the Helens. So I think, this year, I married Helen's mother now more than 30 years. So I think with our experience in the marriage, the most important is the communication and patience. And so we have to, if we treat each other with good communication skill and patience, I think the marriage should be going better and better. And so I would like to welcome every of you to congratulate Helen and Coy's big day, and wish them have a happy life and everlasting love. Thank you very much.
All right.